Now, I already covered this enemy, but after months of people asking for a specific video about it, I decided to give it to you all. The Dry Bones, a skeletal version of the Koopa Troopas mainly found in towers and castles. However, how did it evolve in terms of use, gameplay, design, and story? Well, let's find out. The Dry Bones are a variation of the Koopa Troopa and debuted in the game Super Mario Bros. 3. They can be stomped on the head and turned into a pile of bones. However, they soon regenerate. Unlike normal Koopas, Dry Bones are immune to the tail of Raccoon Mario and the fireballs of his fire version, but can be defeated with a star or a hammer suit. Dry Bones appear most prominently in the multiple fortresses of the game, where they often accompany boos and thwomps. The first level that they appear in is World 1 Fortress, and they're mostly there to form a constant obstacle. You can hit and disable them, however they always return, making them a problem forever. However, besides that, it's quite basic, just like the normal version, which is a bit of a shame. Even their sprites are just edited Koopa Troopa ones. Now, they ended up returning in the next game, Super Mario World. They are found only in fortresses and castles yet again, and they retain their ability to rebuild themselves when stomped on. This time, however, they can permanently be defeated with the cape or with the star power-up. They also turn around at ledges, similar to red Koopa Troopas, instead of just falling, a trait that makes them even more of a threat. Some of the Dry Bones in this game can also throw bones at Mario, which is also an occasional trait in later games. These two new features combined make them a lot more dangerous and less linear, because they used to be invincible Koopa Troopas, and that's kind of it. Their design also changes a lot. The one seen in Dinosaur Land appears somewhat different from the previous versions of them. Most notably, they walk on 2 feet for the first time, are larger relative to Mario, and also appear larger than regular Koopa Troopas, despite being skeletal versions of them. So clearly, they wanted to do something interesting with these enemies, instead of just making an undefeatable Koopa Troopa. All of a sudden, they have their own interesting design, and aren't just a palette swap. They start to build on them for once. And their new bone throwing ability can also mess you up, since they throw them in a slight arc, which is harder to dodge. Besides that, they're seen a lot at points where you have to wait, which is perfect for these enemies because here they can be a constant threat. However, there's also a new bone enemy in the game, the bony beetle. They mostly appear in castles and fortresses, where they walk around, then stop, and stick out spikes. They can be defeated with the swing of a cape, but are immune to fireballs, and just like the Dry Bones, they can't be taken out by stomping them. However, due to their graphical limitations in the original version, bony beetles appear to turn into Dry Bones whenever they collapse. So instead of a walking obstacle that you can either jump on or dodge, this one is a lot more dangerous because the spikes will damage you. They probably put this in the game to create some variety and surprise the player a bit. However, after this, they all disappeared for an extremely long time, mostly because Nintendo quit making the 2D games and experimented a lot with the new 3D formula. They ended up returning when they revived the 2D format and tried to modernize it. The first game in the series was New Super Mario Bros. They are found in the same place and also work the same as in the previous games. However, there's a new variant, the Big Dry Bones, and these are a bit harder to take out. It takes a ground pound to crumble them, and they revive themselves as quickly as a normal one. Both types can be permanently defeated by a Mega Mushroom, a star, or a blue shell, and the big ones cannot be hurt at all by Mini Mario. So now there is a bigger and harder to defeat version, which adds difficulty to an extent. However, they mostly remain the same. But there's one addition to the game that put the Dry Bones in the spotlight, because apparently Bowser can become one as well. Dry Bowser, his undead and skeletal version. After Mario defeated him by dropping him into the lava at the end of New Super Mario Bros. First Castle, he turned into this.
So long, Bowser!
Unlike previous occasions, the lava reduced the once mighty king to a skeleton, leaving his son, Bowser Jr., temporarily in command of the Koopa Troop. He is then fought in the first castle of World 8, and later on revived. So the fact that Koopas can become undead skeletal versions of themselves plays a huge role in this game. It's even used as a plot twist. Now, there are a lot of questions unanswered in this game. For example, why does this happen and how does it all work? However, nothing is really explained. So this will remain one of the biggest questions in the entire game. It does add an interesting twist, and certainly puts the dry bones in the spotlight. Now they return once again in Super Mario Galaxy, a 3D game, and unlike the normal Koopas in this game, they are now bipedal. They now chase you once they see you, and they cackle when they attack, similar to a boo. So they're a lot more aggressive this time around. They went from an extremely linear walking back and forth motion to going after you. Overall, it has a bit of a zombie vibe, since they're also encountered in big groups now. Now, as many of you know, going from 2D to 3D isn't always that simple. A lot of franchises have met their end thanks to this. If you do this with an enemy, they usually need to be redesigned. That's the entire reason why they changed the dry bones in this game. If it only walked around, then nobody would really care. They would ignore them and continue their adventure. However, if they chase you, then it becomes something you can't really ignore, otherwise they will get you. But after this game, they didn't change as much. They mostly stayed the same with some slight changes here and there. And in one of the later games, they added a new variation, Parabones. They were first seen in Super Mario 3D World, replacing normal paratroopers and dry bones. They fly a small distance above the ground and attack the player if they notice. And besides that, they function the same as the normal ones. So they're not very interesting, just an alternate version of the normal Parakoopa. However, this enemy was also seen a ton in one type of spin-off game, the turn-based RPG Mario games like Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi. There are a ton of dry bones versions in these games like Dark Bones, Dull Bones, the paper version, and even important characters like Dead Bones. They are a team of 3 dull-bone fighters that fight in Glitz Pit in Paper Mario The Thousand-Year Door. Clearly, they got a lot more love in these games, and why is unknown. As you can clearly see, they started out as basic enemies and later on became extremely important. However, this didn't last long. Now let's hope that one day we will get some answers on the many questions we have about this strange enemy. Hey you there, why haven't you looked at all my other Evolution of videos? This isn't the only one. Have you seen all these videos? Man, like in the upper right corner and in the playlist on the channel, there are so many more videos of these. Go check them out. It's fun.